Hey guys, welcome to my video for the best exclusive PlayStation 3 game of 2008. So, just like I said in my Xbox video, this list is going to be comprised of only exclusive PlayStation 3 games. That means like multi-platform titles like Fallout 3, not going to make the list. You're going to have to wait for or watch the multi-platform video that will be coming up. So, let me just start off by saying, just like I did in the other videos, the big titles that I did not get to play for the PlayStation 3. Metal Gear Solid 4. Okay, this will not be on my list because I just picked it up recently. I'm not going to play Metal Gear Solid 4 until I beat the other three. So just letting you guys know, don't go too crazy on me. I've already gotten enough in my PlayStation 3 collection video, so that's why it's not on my list. Which might actually make this even more interesting, because Metal Gear Solid 4 usually ends up winning most people's award anyway. So let's get started here. First one, Socom Confrontation. This is on my list because I have been a strong supporter of the Socom series since Socom 1. I have played all the Socom games except for the offbeat versions on like the PSP. I have not played those. But Socom 1, 2, 3, I was a huge fan. Socom 1, I put in thousands of hours. Socom 2, I put in about over 1,000, 2,000, maybe 2,000 hours. I don't remember. Socom 3, about 700 hours. Socom Confrontation. It basically builds upon what made the Socom series so great. It went back to its original roots of making kills satisfying, not making you freaking aim with a gun that isn't accurate. You know, it kind of went back to the couple of hits, you're dead. You're aiming, your bullets are basically going to go there. No shooter is like Socom. It might seem like the most simplistic shooter out there. It's third person, there's no bells and whistles to it. But believe me, this game, there's nothing else out there like it. You have to strategize with your teammates. You have to communicate. You can't run and gun. If you go out there and run and gun, you're gonna get owned. This is one of the games where you have to take your time. It's not a stealth game like most people think. It's just more of a shooting game where you actually have to think. If you're a big fan of like Halo and Call of Duty, and those are the only shooters you've played, and Gears of War, you're most likely not gonna like Socom. You have to go into Socom knowing what you're getting into. A game where you have to take your time and you have to aim carefully. You can't just go out there and try and be the hero. But Socom Confrontation is online only, but it is a very satisfying game to play online, especially if you have friends. Definitely worth a spot on my list for top PS3 games of 2008. Next up, we have Resistance 2. Resistance 2 is one of the few online shooters I've ever played where it truly feels like I'm in the middle of a war. Mainly because of the way that, and I'll start off by talking online because that's the main draw of the game for me. Online, when you do like deathmatch, team deathmatch, capture the flag, it's 30 versus 30. On game consoles, usually the limit, is 16 versus 16. 30 versus 30 is crazy, especially with the respawn system that they use. Basically, they always respawn you by your teammates, so it always feels like you're in this big epic war. And because of the class-based systems in the cooperative, it adds another element. Like in online, you got your shooters, you got your assault rifle guys, but then going in the co-op, it feels fresh because you have to work together using your different classes. It's basically like 3 games in one. You got your online deathmatch kind of stuff. You got your co-op, which is really a lot of fun to play because most people actually think that it's the single player, just co-op, but it's not. It's actually like a whole different game with certain respawns for the enemies, which gets really crazy. And then the single player, I played the least of. However, from what I did play, the graphics were great. The action is non-stop. I mean, the first 2 levels were ridiculous. Like right off the bat, it's not a slow game by any means. Online is definitely a lot of fun though. If you have a PS3 and you're looking for an online shooter, I would say go with this one over Socom, only because the Socom series is it's kind of hard to recommend that you would definitely like it. Next up we have LittleBigPlanet. LittleBigPlanet, if you've watched my review, you know I love this game. It has there's never been anything like this on consoles before. I mean, sure, if you play PC gaming, they have sharing of, user-created content, but it's never been done like this on consoles before. I mean, just imagine creating your own level and having your friends or anybody online play it, and then going online and playing user-created levels, and the whole fun of LittleBigPlanet is never knowing what to expect. I mean, you play a level, and the whole aspect of playing something that somebody has created themselves is just so much more rewarding than playing just a regular platformer level where, you know, you can use a walkthrough to get through it. It's so unexpected. I mean, you can be playing a level and all of a sudden you get rickrolled, or the "oh really" owl comes out of nowhere. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, I made a level myself. I put in over 40 hours, and I hadn't been addicted to a game like that in so long, where I was like craving to get on and just add more to my level. In terms of the online, you know, that's awesome. The single player is quite short, however, what they have is excellent. I mean, the developers really did a good job on that. I would still recommend it even if you're not going to play online, but LittleBigPlanet is a step forward in gaming as a whole. Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm, and I said it right that time. Really some of the best graphics I've seen ever on consoles this year, since the new generation system started. It uses cell shading, but the cell shading that it uses, it doesn't use like harsh lines or anything like that. I would honestly admit that if it wasn't for this game's presentation, it wouldn't be as fun, because in the battles they use this like dramatic camera angle, and I also have a review up for this one as well if you want more in-depth coverage on this. The dramatic camera angles coupled with the awesome animation, and just it looks like, seriously, I know people say this with cell shaded games, but this really looks like a cartoon come to life. Not even kidding. If you're not a fan of Naruto, I'd stay away from this one, because the story would be like almost non-existent to you. You'd be playing it exclusively for the fighting, which can get stale over time, I will admit. But still, it's very, very fun. It has like sort of like a little open world HUD to it, but the main core of the game is the fighting, which is a little simple. You know, the combos aren't crazy like Tekken kind of stuff. You actually do all your moves almost exclusively with one button. But if you can look past that, it's a very enjoyable fighting game. And lastly, Valkyria Chronicles. This one really came out of nowhere, and not a lot of people have played it, have heard of it. It's basically a strategy game where instead of having a grid-based, like turn-based movement, it's still turn-based, but when you control your units, it actually turns into a third-person shooter. There's nothing else out there like it. So just imagine getting rid of that monotonous grid, the slow combat, and actually controlling your units in real-time third-person. So you're moving your unit around, and there's a bar ticking down that tells you how long you can control your unit for. And you issue one command, like if you choose to shoot, that's it, it'll end your turn. But if you want to go again or third time with the same character, it will give you a shorter time bar for your next move. So there is a lot of strategy involved. You know, there's different classes. You got your engineers, you got your medics, you have your heavy gunners, you have your scout-based characters. So it's a strategy game at heart. However, the presentation is what really wins this one over. It looks like a watercolor painting come to life. And couple that with the unique take on strategy RPGs, this is a real winner. RPG fans or anime fans, check this one out. I'm not kidding, you'll really, really enjoy it. It's definitely something unique. There's really nothing else like it out there. So, there's my nominees for the PS3 Game of the Year. However, I can only pick one, and that is going to be LittleBigPlanet. Now, watching my review, you'll know I've gushed over this game, and I'm not kidding, guys. My opinion still stands on this. Let me put it in a nice way. For those of you that, like, almost die when you hear I haven't played Metal Gear Solid 4, guess what? I almost die when I hear you haven't played LittleBigPlanet. I mean, think of it that way, okay? You think Metal Gear Solid 4 is the best PS3 game? Guess what? I haven't played it, so I can't tell you. However, I think LittleBigPlanet is the best PS3 game. And, I would say play this one before you kind of try and judge me for not playing Metal Gear. I make a big deal of this because people really do make a big deal about me not playing Metal Gear Solid 4. Don't pay attention to the cutesy cover. I don't care if it looks kiddie. This is the best game you can play for the PlayStation 3, hands down. Best PS3 game of 2008. So, you guys really need to go out there and pick this one up. Support this. There's probably not going to be a sequel because, honestly, this game has endless possibilities. There's always going to be something new. Thanks for watching, guys.